Welcome back to Wichita's Biz That Is. I'm Tim Witzman. And Diana, you forgot part of your background.
No.
Can you tell me that part?
Totally blanked it out. Well, after my McLeod's retail days, I went to work for a company that was at that time called Business Specialist and is now the Specialist Group. And that was an interesting 14 years of my life because I was the vice president of our public relations. And I spent a week in San Francisco and a week in Denver and a week in Wichita and vice versa.
Wow.
And during that time, I would call on clients and was actually the liaison between the staff of the Specialist Group and our clients. It was a very interesting job, although I have to say after 14 years of traveling every week, it got tiring. So I took a job. I was recruited to, it was the opening of a school for those with disabilities at Cerebral Palsy Research.
Right.
And that too was a very rewarding job. And I learned so much from that job. And I stayed there 10 years and then retired to do the photography full time. So that was an interesting part of my life. I met a lot of wonderful people along the way.
Yep. A lot of transitions, and that kind of leads me to photography has changed tremendously from times when my folks would take a shot with a little Brownie back in World War II. Just take us through some of the things that have changed since you've been in the business.
Well, the biggest change was about 10 years ago, I suppose, when Fuji came out with a high quality, affordable digital camera.
Right.
On the SLR design.
Right.
That camera also took the Nikon lenses. So it was an instant transition from film to digital, getting as good as results as almost 35 millimeter at the time.
But you had a lot of investment in technology, didn't you?
Had a lot of investment in technology at the time, but you were able to use part of that technology with the new technology. And so that worked out, and then digital just took off. I mean, other companies competed with that firm and come out with better and better and better, which has been in the progression for over 10 years.
Is there anything we lost from what was back then in photography?
Well, there's a lot of changes in people and what they want as far as final imaging. The new generation, the more Facebook generation, are used to iPhone or cell phone images and that type of quality. So as far as professional portraiture has really taken gone by the wayside pretty much. Your neighborhood photography studio is pretty much non-existent except for a few out there. And so the industry's changed and is in a constant change, it seems like, towards technology.
Did that also lead you so that more of the business became weddings?
The experience of a wedding, the work involved in a wedding, it takes a lot of experience to do one well and fluidly without any intrusion to the bride or groom, and to capture, like a photojournalistic type of photography, as well as controlling a group of people to get a group picture of the formal
Who may
pictures.
not want to be controlled.
Yeah.
That's my job.
So
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
So you got several types of photography in a wedding, and you try to control certain areas, and then the other areas are photojournalistic, and it's kind of like on the go photography. It's kind of you got to use your knowledge of cameras, light, physics, lenses to get the best results in a wedding.
Okay. Everybody's heard of Bridezilla. Now, I didn't tell you I would ask this question. Do you have any stories that you could tell without getting yourself in trouble of just wacko, strange things that have happened as you photograph weddings?
Diana's probably better at that than I am.
Okay.
She remembers those types.
Well, actually, I'm writing a book.
You're too busy.
That you probably didn't know that
I
this
didn't.
either, and it's called It Really Happened. And it started out, the old Lassen Hotel, I'm sure you remember that, and it was very scenic and very elegant for small weddings. And the bride was getting dressed in this very small dressing room on the second floor. And I'm always with the bride before the wedding, and Chris is off with the guys having fun.
That makes sense.
But, and this happens all the time. One bridesmaid by one, they'll all leave. But this time the mother left too. So that leaves me and the bride in the dressing room. And the zipper broke on her dress. So I'm with my emergency kit under her dress, hoping that nobody gets a picture, pinning it together. All this time he's downstairs. An hour later, the wedding is not taking place. And we had this happen again last summer. The bride didn't allow enough time. The next thing you know, he's over in the church. I'm in another building. It happens all the time. But we're seeing less and less of assistance from bridesmaids. They seem to have their own agenda on the day of a wedding and just disappear.
But there have to be some really strange things that have occurred too.
Oh yes, some of them I
because
won't talk about.
you mentioned one or two tonight.
Yeah, there's crazy things that happen on the day of a wedding, and no two weddings are alike, and you could never be prepared for what may happen.
And Chris seems like he's pretty good at adjusting.
He's very good at adjusting. But every now and then, we will keep the cell phones on until the ceremony starts, because there's too many times that he may be across the street like in Old Town, and I'm in the hotel with the bride. So we have to be able to communicate. I don't know how we did it before. I guess we had walkie-talkies, but
Did a lot of walking.
yeah, we do a lot of walking. Weddings are, people don't have respect, I don't believe, for the vendors that are involved in weddings, because you have to be able to make a change in a second.
That's a perfect ending for this segment, and we'll be back in just a moment with more of Wichita's Biz That Is.